So I'm really delighted I could teach this class to you and take you in this last class on a little trip to what I do day in, day out, which is work with the Google self-driving car project. But more importantly, I just want to just discuss a little bit of the topics we actually covered in class and remind you what you actually learned. You probably started out being good in programming and linear algebra and probability, and hopefully you weren't quite an expert in robotics, because if you were, I probably didn't teach you very much. But in 7 weeks' time, we went through all the basics elements of making AI for robotics, and specifically how to program a robotic car. Now, we learned about localization, Monte Carlo localization, which I also called histogram filters, a way to deal with probabilities in a large-scale situation. We talked about tracking other cars. We talked about something called Kalman filters, which is a Gaussian version of the same idea. Very different math. In fact, it took me, myself, many months to get Kalman filters, so hopefully you understood a good chunk of it. We learned about a really nifty type of algorithm called particle filters, which is really easy to implement and a lot of fun for state estimation problems like localization and tracking other cars. We moved into planning. We talked about multiple planning paradigms, one called A-star, one called dynamic programming, with different trade-offs. Some of them handled uncertainty differently from others. We also looked into controls, and we looked into smoothing. We talked about PID control. Of course, you remember now what that means. And we all implemented maybe somewhat simplified, yet really important versions of self-driving car problems. What's really important to me is that you implemented this. It wasn't just me implementing it, but through this class, hopefully you gained the skill and the confidence to take these methods into practice and implement them and understand them, not just theoretically by following a professor explaining them, but by you being able to bring them to the world. And if you are able to do this and you can solve an interesting problem, please do drop me an email. I really care about this. I really care about enriching your life and empowering you in the ability to carry out these methods anywhere you go. I want to thank all of you for sticking with me through this. I know this is a substantial time commitment. You aren't quite done yet. We have the final exam coming up. The type final exam questions are similar to the questions that we discussed in class, but they're also different. Some of them are challenging. There's at least, I believe, 2 challenge questions in there. There's also a programming thing in there, so you can go wild. I hope you have sufficient time to do this. I think we're sparing an entire week for the final exam. But because the final exam is taken separately, I want to say goodbye. I love you guys and girls. You've done amazingly well. Thanks for sticking with me. Come back to Udacity and take classes with us again. And hopefully I can help you, and we can help you at Udacity to become stronger and to become more skilled and find better jobs. Thank you.